Good afternoon. Minnesota's semiconductor industry is unique. We've been around for a long time, and it includes dozens of companies across the value chain. In addition to Polar, where I work, that includes companies like Seagate, Honeywell, Collins Aerospace, Trusted Semi, and Skywater. We make complex chips here in Minnesota, the ones that are needed to make electric vehicles, medical devices, missile systems, radar, and satellites, just to name a few. The Federal CHIPS and Science Act created an opportunity and a challenge for the American semiconductor industry. To bolster national and economic security, the industry needs to massively expand domestic production of chips and build the workforce that is needed to realize this growth. Since Minnesota's semiconductor industry is unique, we needed a unique approach to this challenge, an approach anchored in collaboration. Through Greater MSP's leadership, Polar Semiconductor and the dozens of other semiconductor manufacturers and suppliers built a coalition with the ambition to bring as much federal CHIPS money back to Minnesota as possible and grow the size and impact of Minnesota in the US semiconductor industry. We also built a shared workforce plan that broke down silos between companies, educational institutions, and community-based organizations, developing demand-driven approaches to bring more folks into the workforce pipeline, especially folks who historically have faced the greatest barriers to employment. And I am thrilled to share that we were successful, hugely successful. In 2024, just a few months ago, Polar was announced by the Department of Commerce and the White House as the first CHIPS Award for commercial fabrication of semiconductors in the United States. This funding will allow Polar to double our Bloomington facility and expand our capabilities to supply more industries and make even more complex chips. And I am extremely happy to share that our neighbors, Skywater Technology, are the second Minnesota recipients of CHIPS funding announced later in the year. Polar's expansion will create 170 new jobs and invest $525 million in Bloomington. We wouldn't have been able to make this investment here in the greater MSP region without partnership, and that includes the Minnesota legislature's passage of the Minnesota Forward Fund. Any legislators in the audience, thank you. The work doesn't stop here. Through the Greater MSP Partnership, we're now building an inclusive workforce focused on recruiting, training, hiring, and supporting the thousands of workers needed to realize the full potential of the semiconductor and microelectronics sector in the Greater MSP region. This is a new model of workforce development that includes educational institutions, government, industry, and community, and focused on demand-driven and demand-informed solutions. We are accelerating growth of semiconductors and microelectronics industry here in Minnesota and building our state's global competitiveness in this critical sector. And we're ready to scale it up to include even more employers, including MedTech. The work has just begun, and we're proud to work alongside many of you to realize our bold ambitions. Thank you.